Check out more at radiolemans.com. This program is a Radio Show Limited production.
Tell your friends there's more at radiolemans.com.
The WeatherTech Sports Car Championship on IMSA Radio.
Good afternoon, everybody. The GTD class qualifying is about to get underway here at the 2.54 mile circuit of Road Atlanta. Let's head straight down in the pit lane. Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit lane reporter for some news on the qualifying drivers, who, of course, will be the starting drivers, Shea.
Yeah, and some things never change, Sean. We have a few cars and teams electing to start their qualifying drivers as normal. The 97 still sees Mike Marsal, and the 96 Brett Curtis. 63, of course, has Christina Nielsen in that championship elect car. 33 Viper, we find Jerome Bleekemolen. However, he will be taking qualifying duties away from Ben Keating, our normal qualifier for that car. In the number 6 Stevenson Audi, we find Scott Robin Liddell, who is fresh off the track. In the 9, his teammate Lawson Oschenbach taking away the qualifying duties from Continental Tire Sports Car Champion. He's got more poles than anyone else. That would be Matt Bell. He will not be in the car. He's up on the pit box. 44 is the Magnus Racing Audi. That finds Andy Lally behind the wheel again. Sorry, it finds Andy Lally not behind the wheel. It was John Potter who got into that car. 23, AJR. It is the Heart of Racing Team Seattle car. That one has Mario Farnbacher. Moving back down pit lane, the number 73, the Park Place Motorsports Porsche. Well, they've got a lot of trust in this kid. They've put Matt McMurray behind the wheel for that one, choosing not to use Jerome Bleekemolen. And the most interesting car on the grid right now, the number 16, Change Racing. Spencer Pompelli, having just won a championship they had, thought that maybe they were going to put him in the car to qualify. Well, he is not yet back, so it is Corey Lewis taking the duties for that one.
Let's turn my microphone on. Thank you, Shea. Shea Adam down in the pit lane. Jeremy Shaw.
Yeah, I just saw Spencer Mapelli downstairs doing a press conference, so he's a happy boy down there. He's first at the championship, so I'm sure he'd be disappointed not to qualify the car. And the reason for why the Christina Nielsen, for example, will be starting number 63 car is because in order to clinch the championship, that she effectively needs to do 45 minutes of driving. So that's why she will qualify the car, she will start the car, she will do a 45 minutes, job done.
Joining us in the booth for the first part of qualifying, at least, delighted to welcome back to the airwaves of IMSA Radio, Ashley Freiberg, and you will be delighted to have your race suit and your kit with you again this weekend, because of course you're driving this weekend.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've had so much fun this weekend just being back behind the wheel, and I gotta tell you, our car is flying, so I'm feeling pretty good about the race. Qualifying,
it's a tough one, isn't it? Because you got to pick who's going to go out there. Does it matter in a 10-hour race? Does it? Do the team when Turner Motorsport sat down, you talk about it. You know, if you get a good qualifying position, great. But in a 10-hour race, it doesn't really matter, does it?
You know, not necessarily. Qualifying for a race like this more so has to do with how your strategy is going to play out. You know, just which order the drivers are going to get in the car and for how long. And there's minimum drive times and maximum drive times, and we want to make sure we're shuffling each other right so that we have the fast driver at the end. And how soon then have you been talking about that? Is that a conversation that you've had for your car already? So that strategy to the most part is set. Clearly you have to roll with the punches during the race, but that's set now already. Yeah, we've been talking about it all weekend, and we've kind of finalized it actually now before qualifying, after our last practice session where we saw where everyone's pace was, and so we got that sorted out pretty early. Okay, and car feeling good? What do you reckon for your guys out in this session? Yeah, I think our car is really good, and Brett has been flying, so I think he's going to qualify pretty well, actually. So I think between all three of us, our pace is really good, really consistent. I think we just got to stay clean and out of trouble. We'll come back to you in actually, before anybody starts putting the fast laps down, I want to ask you about since the last time I spoke to you, Ashley, FIA Women in Motorsport has happened, and you've become quite heavily involved in that as an ambassador. Tell me a little bit about that quickly. Yeah, the FIA Women in Motorsport Commission is basically just a commission to inspire more women to get involved in motorsport, not just with the driving part, but also with engineering and mechanics and everything like that. So it's a really cool association that I'm super excited to be a part of, because I try to, on my own, even inspire women to get more involved in this sport, because it's super awesome. And very quickly and finally, you made me laugh the most of anything this season when you got delayed and posted that video in the moving walkway. At which airport was that when you were delayed? I was in Detroit. Yeah, I was delayed probably like 4 hours, and I had my workout gear with me, so I don't know, I was just feeling in a silly mood, and I wanted to make people laugh and make myself laugh, so that was my entertainment for 4 hours. And mine too. It got retweeted a bazillion times, by the way. It was just the really serious way you seemed to be taking it, and then there was the little smile at the end. It was fantastic. Loved it a lot. What do we know about next year? Have you got any plans in place yet? Oh man, next year I have no idea what I'm going to do. I've been working all of this year on next year, actually, because it's racing, you know, you never know where you're going to end up. Things are always changing and shuffling around, so hopefully I'll be in a car for the full season. That's the ultimate goal, but I don't know yet. Got to get through tomorrow as well, of course. Does that put a bit more pressure on you, Ashley, when you've been out of the car for a wee while? Honestly, with me, no, because I'm just enjoying every minute that I have behind the wheel, because I know what it's like to not be behind the wheel. I'm just more so than anything just really thankful for every lap that I get behind the wheel.
Was it you that set the best time in that car this morning?
Yes, that was me. So
that's pretty stout. I mean, a little bit quicker, fractionally quicker than Jens Klingman. That's got to feel pretty good.
It
just has to be
really
a BMW work supported driver.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, especially.
There's no motivation there then, actually. Right?
there might be a little flame under me.
That's great. Always if you could be the fastest in the car, you know, be
absolutely.
the fastest in the car.
And let's not forget, that is the car that won the most recent race at Circuit of the Americas. That was the car's second win of the season. So yeah, Ashley's in a good place for this weekend.
Stay with us, Ashley, for the session. You might be able to throw some insight into what's going on around this circuit. Early doors so far, but it is Mario Farnbacher for Porsche, the 23 Alex Job racing car, 1:22.003. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. 22.032 for Jerome Bleekemolen, 23.303 for Robin Liddell, qualifying the number 6 Stevenson Motorsport Audi. Then Paolo Roberti for Lamborghini, the 27 car. Then it's the 9 Stevenson Audi, Christina Nielsen in the 63, Matt McMurray in the 73 Porsche. All begins to change around as Corey Lewis jumps up into third position for the Lamborghini.
Yeah, we'll see quicker times than that. The fastest time of the week was set this morning in the final practice session, I believe, by Andy Lally at a 1:20.4. That's in the Magnus Racing Audi.
How many laps have you got around here, Ashley? You've been here before.
Oh yeah, actually last year in the Continental Tire Sports Car Championship I won here, so I've been here a lot. Skip Barber, all sorts of things.
What's the key to, all right, let's talk about qualifying. What's the key to a good qualifying here? Clearly every corner is important, but is there somewhere in particular that you always used to think to yourself when you were out there qualifying, right, I must nail what, turn 1, get the lap off to a good start?
Honestly, from turn 1 all the way to turn 5, it's pretty much all interconnected. So that whole section is definitely really important. I mean, that's what, a third of the lap. So getting that nailed and then a good exit off of 7 is really key. That straightaway is super long. So getting
get your Kindle out, read a couple of chapters of your book before you break for turn 10A. It is a very long way indeed. That's where the cars are coming around now. The 23 of Mario Farnbacher and Jerome Bleekemolen battling it out at the head of the field, and Bleekemolen goes ahead with a 21.6. Still not quite where we were earlier, but it's warmer here. That will affect the times, Jeremy.
Yes, it will, certainly. And you know, we've had a fair bit of we had the 2.5-hour Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge race just finished a little while ago, so I'm sure the track isn't at its cleanest right now.
It's a fair point as well. Bleekemolen then over the top of 2. Down a gear, you can take the curb on the left, straighten it out again for the right-hander. And now a bit of drafting going on here, and not between teammates, not even mark mates, because the 48, which is the in-form Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini team, first and a second in the last 2 races, with Madison Snow behind the wheel. He's trying to get a little bit of a draft from, or giving a bit of a draft rather, to the 23 of Mario Farnbacher.
Not quite sure why Mario Farnbacher would get tucked in behind him. He just set his best sector 3 on that previous lap, which wasn't an improvement on his previous best. So I don't think he was probably held up there by Madison Snow at all. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah, he's dropped away now, round turn 6. 97 car in the pit lane. 12th at the moment for Michael Marcel. And that looked like a new set of tyres going on that car there. Shea Adam.
You're changing tyres now.
Shea Adam?
Yeah, you're not allowed to change tyres in qualifying, so that would be the rollers going on the car. That would mean qualifying is done for them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. 4 laps, 5 laps. 12th position, all done and dusted. Okay.
Again, you know, confirmation that qualifying isn't that important, not too worried about it. Just get a time on the board, start you know, toward the back of the pack perhaps, but long race.
Thing is, you don't want to take too much, Ashley, out of the tyres before you start the race on them, because you have got to start the race on the tyres on which you qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know with our car, and I'm sure with most cars, you know, keeping those tires underneath you is everything throughout that whole stint.
And I was actually just downstairs listening a little bit on the press conference, talking briefly with Scott Maxwell and Billy Johnson, who just won the Continental Tire Sports Car Race and Championship, and they were telling me that tyres are super critical here this weekend. And I said, that's not normally the case here at Road Atlanta, is it? And they said, no, it's not actually. They were quite surprised, but new tyres worth a heck of a lot. So, you know, I think that'll carry forward to pretty much all the series. It's an elderly or aging a little bit now track surface. So that often tends to make it a little bit more abrasive.
It's funny actually, Jeremy, because even as early in the week as Tuesday, when the test was on, right across the different categories, I was talking to some of the guys who actually knew what they were doing while they were testing cars, and they were all saying that they weren't seeing what was normal, in inverted commas, whatever normal at a racetrack, but they weren't seeing things that were expected, shall we say, in terms of how the tyres were behaving, what tyre temperatures were doing, and they were seeing a little more wear rate than they had expected. And that was across a range of tyre manufacturers, because pretty much everybody bar the WeatherTech Championship were practicing on the promoter test day on Tuesday. There was at least a couple of 3 sessions for most of the different categories. 4 minutes to go, and still 1 or 2 people having a go. Matt McMurray pushes up into second place in the Park Place Porsche. Yeah,
good run by young Matt, certainly, and he's one of the drivers that took part in the Porsche Young Driver Assessment this week, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
Very.
Matt has had a go at some of the PC and LMP2 racing as well in his time.
Done a lot of racing this year.
Yeah.
He's been driving this car in the Tequila Patron North American Endurance Championship. He's been driving the PC car in most of the sprint races, which was your plan originally, of course, Ashley Freiberg, wasn't it?
It was.
Original hope.
That's racing.
Yeah.
It's racing.
Yes. Meet triumph and disaster.
Some experience. So all experience is good experience, though, isn't it?
That is true. That is true. I definitely learned a lot.
Laps under the wheels, always a good thing. Yes, the old adage is if you can meet those 2 imposters of triumph and disaster the same, then you've probably got no imagination. No, that's not true. 3.5 minutes to go, and 1 or 2 teams already called it a day. Oh, a little brush of the outside of the circuit there, right in front of us by your car, Ashley. There was a breathe in there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy to go wide there. I mean, Curtis in the 96 coming out the final corner, just dropping a couple of inches or so off the end of the, or over the edge of the green and white curbs on the start-finish line. Looks like, looks like Bleecker Mullins having another go. Lets someone else by and then comes through, but he's in the middle of the track.
Yeah, he's not on the pace there.
Yeah, he's looking for space here for 1 more. He's going to have to get a bit of a wiggle on.
Lewis is on the pace, so that was an improvement for him. Gets him up to 7th place in that change racing green and black Lamborghini.
Christina Nielsen puts the 63 Ferrari's fastest time in that time around, 1:22.2 for her. Good enough for 8th.
She's on another pretty good lap now. Personal best in Sector 1.
Brett Curtis still circulating in the 96 BMW. Let's see what he has this time around. Couple of minutes left. Ashley Freiberg with us in the booth, watching on in this first part of qualifying for GTD. 1:22.1 for Christina Nielsen, pops her up to 4th position.
Yeah,
stout, very stout on a set of 9-lap old tyres.
Yeah, and a couple of tenths of a second was enough to move her up from 8th into 4th.
Well, that's how close. Yeah. That's how close this GTD pack is, and the GTLM was just the same. I think all the field was separated by 0.63 of a second in that last session. It does seem to me, Ashley, and you know, I've never driven these cars on these tyres clearly, but you have, that every tyre, doesn't matter who it's made by, has an optimum time. It seems that these Continentals for the GTs are probably lap 3, 4 or 5, but then actually, although there's a little bit of drop off, as there always is with new tyres, they're actually pretty consistent after that. And as we've just seen there, Christina works up to her best lap on a lap 9.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, these tires, yeah, generally, like you said, come in around the 3rd or 4th lap, and just like you said, they're really consistent, and that's what's pretty cool about these tires. You know, during a stint in the race, you can feel pretty confident pushing the car pretty darn hard for that, almost that entire stint.
And the other key thing thing for drivers. If they're going to drop away, you never want a tyre to just drop off the edge of the cliff and go from grip, 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 no grip.
Right.
And again, that's not the case with the Continentals. If they are going to fall away, it's giving you some clue. So you modify your driving style a bit.
Right, and I mean some of that also depends on how your car is set up. Sometimes if your car is not too happy and it doesn't mesh well with the tire, then it can be a bit of an adventure. That is definitely the truth there. But I think the tires are definitely pretty consistent. I'm pretty surprised by them. They're really good.
Not sure what happened to Lawson Aschenbach on that last lap, because he was personal best in sectors 1 and 2 and then lost a huge amount of time. I mean, literally a huge amount of time in sector 3, because the lap time was a 1:24.6. His previous best was a 22.1. And as I say, he was faster in sectors 1 and 2 than the previous best. So must have had some sort of a bobble halfway around that lap. Maybe
your wish is the TV truck's command.
There we go.
Thank you very much, Jason and the team, through that. That'll do nicely for
listening to us.
Oh yes,
thank you very, very much.
It's only the TV truck. There's no one else listening to us. Just the TV truck. And good pick up from the team back there. I keep hearing Bubba Clark's voice in my head, which is very off-putting because I'm so used to having him around for the last million years. I keep looking around to see if he's standing behind me. When we were talking earlier on about coming here in 1998, the early years, we had brilliant Bob Dawson, of course, putting our kit together for us. Still part of the Le Mans team. Let's go down to Shea Adam. Shea.
Well, Jeroen, you come into the weekend second in points, knowing that you guys have to, pull out a win or something miraculous to try and get ahead of the 63 in points, and you started off with the pole. Congratulations.
Yeah, great run. And the whole week, the car's been pretty good, and we've made some good changes going forward. And yeah, it's the last race of the Viper here, so we want to give it a good farewell, and we started with it the best way, giving it its last international sports car race at pole position.
And this means that you will be starting the car for the 10 hours, the Petit Le Mans. This is a race that you know well. This is a race that you've won before. What would it mean to win it in the Viper after you've been with them for so many years?
Yeah, it would be awesome. We've had some great race wins, but I haven't won one of the longer, bigger races in the Viper yet. So yeah, it will be awesome to finish it off with one of the historic long distance races.
But you do have a couple wins on the year at least. That's got to help. Ben has won at least 2 races a year since 2013. He's won 3 races in 1 year, but that was not with you. You're going to make that difference tomorrow?
Yeah, hopefully, yes. 2 years ago, or last year, he won Daytona and I was on the other car. But yeah, the car has been great. We've had such a strong run with the whole team for the last couple of seasons. So yeah, again, if we can say goodbye to this car in the best possible way, that's what we're here for.
Well, talking about goodbyes, we want to hear about hellos. Are you going to be with Ben next year? And if yeah, can you give us a hint in what?
Yeah, I'll definitely be with Ben. We'll be back here in this championship, and yeah, we'll announce other stuff later, but yeah, we'll be back for sure.
Excellent. Couldn't hear for better news. Congrats on today, and remember, you got 10 hours tomorrow, so get lots of sleep.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that goes for all of us, doesn't it? Shea Adam down in the pit lane with our first of 4 pole sitters for the final race of the 2016 season. Jeroen Bleekemolen. Ben Keating telling us as far back as VIR that he wants to race what he sells. Now, we know he's bought a prototype. He's going to do some LMP2 racing. That's not likely to be, or not necessarily to be here in this championship. And he said to Jim Roller quite pointedly that weekend, there was people making all kinds of jumps and assumptions. And he said, I sell cars, I buy and sell cars. You know that he always tells us that he's the biggest Viper dealer in the world. He says, I want to race what I sell. That would normally mean a GT car. And if the automotive press is to believe, interesting what you find when you read things outside of motorsport, then Mr. Keating is taking on an AMG Mercedes dealership. Just putting that out there. Just saying. Maybe we'll find out a little bit more about that in due course. So that's the first of 4 pole positions. Next up, GTLM, the real thoroughbreds of the GT racing world, made in very small numbers indeed, the racing cars. The requirement to sell them to other people has disappeared. You don't have to build a certain amount of race cars. The road cars on which they are based have to be available and be there. Ashley's going to leave us now, so thank you very much. You getting ready for tomorrow?
I am ready.
Right, quiet night tonight, you know, read a book, something like that.
Read a book?
Sorry, is that very old-fashioned nowadays?
Exactly.
The Race to Win by Carol Shelby, probably, something like that.
Oh, yes, or maybe The Unfair Advantage or something, something like that. Ashley, we wish you the very best tomorrow. Be safe, bring the car home, and good luck.
Thank you.
Ashley Freiberg joining us from Turner Motorsport here, and Shea Adam has got the news of our GTLM qualifiers.
Shall we start at pit out? I feel like starting at pit out. In the number 4, the championship leading car coming into this weekend, a man with no poles to his name, Tommy Milner, will be trying to fix that in that number 4 Corvette. His teammate will be Antonio Garcia in the number 3. Next car back, we find the number 68 Ferrari from Scuderia Corse. That will be Daniel Serra. He got a pole at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Hasn't started many races, but he already has that valuable pole position. In our Fords, the man who has a ton of poles this year, Richard Westbrook, back in the number 67. His teammate, Ryan Briscoe, got a pole. Now he wants to do another better. Finish the year with 3, possibly even 4. In the 66, Joey Hand looking for his first pole position in this class of racing. He has overall pole from Road America last year, but he does not have one in GTLM. In our 2 Porsches are our 2 2015 overall Le Mans winners. Earl Bamber will be driving the number 912, trying to get another pole position. He got one last year at this track and then had it taken away for various reasons, but he wants it back. 911 is the overall winner last year, Nick Tandy. In the number 25 BMW, Bill Oberlin, the man with more experience than anyone else, I think it's fair to say, because he certainly does not like me bringing up his age. John Edwards, a young gun, will be qualifying the number 100. And in the 62 Ferrari from Risi Competizione, it will be Tony Vielander, another one of our drivers looking for his first pole in this series. And Tony, last win came in 2012 at this very circuit.
Thank you, Shea. So just counting down to the start of this session. At IMSA Radio. Are you ready for a little bit more qualifying? I do like these short, sharp sessions, Jeremy. They really fit the pace of what we're doing. I know it's an endurance race, but these qualifying sessions need little explanation. The cars go out. The fastest car goes to the front of the field. 15 minutes. There you go. Have at it.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? We've had 4 practice sessions this week for the GTLM cars. We've had the number 3 Corvette was quickest in the first one. The number 68 Ferrari was quickest in both the second and actually the most recent one this morning. And number 66 Ford was fastest yesterday afternoon. So, or yesterday evening, I should say. Yeah. So that's 3 different manufacturers. I think it would suggest we're in for an interesting time. And the Ferraris were first and second this morning. 1:17.6 was the time turned by Daniel Serra, the Brazilian, son of Chico. I remember watching Formula Ford cars at Snetterton and the like back in 1970. Yes, quite. In fact, I drove his car, didn't I? Yeah, that's right.
You drove Chico Serra's Formula Ford car?
Yes, I did. First time I ever drove a racing car, actually. And but
Jeremy, you are full of surprises.
Yeah,
you really are.
Scared out of myself, I must admit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's close. In that final session this morning, the top 7 cars covered by half a second. Yeah.
The GTLM category has been very impressive all year. I love that category. I love GT racing, and I was somewhat concerned when performance boxers, and the dreaded BOP was brought into that category. And I'm still not convinced there's a place for it, if I'm honest. But what you've got is not in GT, LM, GTE at any level, certainly not at the level we're racing here in the World Championship. But that said, you can't argue with the quality of racing that we've had both in the World Championship at Le Mans and here at IMSA in the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship this year. So
it's been brilliant, isn't it?
In that respect, I've got to say, you know, well done everybody. I mean, there have been plenty of times when the whole 9 or 10 car field have been well within a second, and
yeah,
you know, 0.6 or 0.7 seconds, and sometimes closer than that. We've been splitting people by the 3rd decimal place sometimes in practice and even qualifying sessions. It's been an extraordinary. When you go through the fastest lap times and the average lap times of across the field, there's very, very little in it, which tells you really that the big, what you get out of that is perhaps the not surprising thing, that what really makes the difference is the driver and how consistent the driver can be. And those average lap times over a stint is what is winning and losing races.
It is. It is, not making mistakes. And you know, it looks like Chevrolet's going to win the Manufacturers' Championship. Really, all they have to do is start today. Surprisingly, neither BMW's had a bit of a disappointing season. Don't think they certainly didn't expect to go winless on the season. Particularly, it started off reasonably well. They were second at Sebring. But it's not been the year that they would have wanted. And Ferrari, well, they've just been plain unlucky. I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda won probably each of the last 3 races at least.
Certainly should have had podia.
Well, yeah, that's right. They didn't do that in his last 3 races. But
exactly.
they should have won. I mean, they were involved in 2 incidents in VIR and Road America, which arguably weren't of their making. And they had a mechanical problem last time. Yikes, that was close.
It's Ford versus Corvette.
Chevrolet.
Yeah, Chevrolet in the Manufacturers' Championship, and we had a little close call there. By the way, talking about the last race for Viper, for that team, there's nothing to stop Viper coming back next year. In fact, there's another Viper team who have been racing this year. It's not like the car falls out of homologation or anything like that. As far as I'm aware, unless somebody tells me something different, it's the last race for Viper for that team. There are no works Vipers, of course, and the Viper program in terms of the street cars, very sadly, because it's one of my favourite ever cars, has either is or has come to an end relatively recently. And SRT, the performance arm of Dodge Chrysler, has said that there will be no 2017 car. But as I say, although the Ben Keating team are probably not running that car next year, or aren't running that car next year with their split program, that doesn't stop anybody else running the car.
No, I certainly hope they do. I think this latest iteration of the car is really, I think it's the best looking of all of the Vipers personally.
Just looks really sharp, doesn't it?
Does,
as if it's been on a diet and been to the gym a bit.
And I love the livery that this car's been running in, the Gas Monkey livery, that's white and blue and black. I think it looks really, really sharp.
So on to GT-LM now. Cars out on the track. Antonio Garcia, had a quick chat with him yesterday when I was down at Corvette Racing. What a transformation of the attitudes towards motor racing by major manufacturers. Corvette Racing has played a part in that. Go back into Corvette history, GM did not want a factory team, and in fact banned the original creator of the Corvette from forming an original factory team, and actually didn't want the cars to race. Fortunately, some of the cars made their way into the hands of very competent privateers, including people like Roger Penske. And Corvettes did race and were hugely successful in the hands of privateers, but no works team until relatively recently. Just happened to coincide with pretty much exactly with the start of the American Le Mans series back in 1999, although the project was ongoing for a couple of years before that. And credit Doug Feehan, who is still project manager at Corvette Racing, for being able to persuade the higher-ups at GM in Detroit that a factory-named programme was what needed to be done. And of course, now Chevrolet Corvette has even more factory backing for its brands, including Cadillac, effectively GM competitions department. Right, let's have a look at some times. Joey Hand for Ford, 62, 1:18.876. Tony Vilander for Ferrari, the 62 car, goes over turn 2, hammers the curb on the inside. And that was a hard hit with the right front of that GTE LM car. Vilander 1:19.0. Fastest first sector to Hand, though. Under 20 seconds for the third sector. He's not hanging about, though, for Vilander. But under 30 seconds, rather, for the first is very quick. That runs from the start-finish line to the exit of turn 5. Here comes Joey Hand into the turn 10 A and B complex. Heading up over the rise. That, well, unique in this company sounding Ford EcoBoost V6 sounds nothing like it did in the Daytona prototypes. Across the line, Joey Hand, 1:18.327. He'd just been bumped off the top by Antonio Garcia, and he nicks it back by half a second. Top 3 within 6/10. 66 Ford, 3 Corvette, 62 Ferrari. Hello, we have got some competition here. Still 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's a pretty good lap, I think, by Joey Hand. The fastest time this morning, as we talked about, was Daniel Serra at a 1:17.693. So he's about 5.5 tenths away from that. If you look at GTD, the fastest time this morning for the Viper, which is a car that qualified on pole, was a 1:20.5, and this afternoon qualifying did a 1:21.3. So that's 8 tenths differential. Don't know whether that means anything, but interesting to me at least. Ferrari goes second now. Tony Vilander, well, Ferrari was second, was Daniel Serra. New Ferrari into second place. That would be Tony Vilander in car 62 for Risi Competizione at a 1:18.5. Daniel Serra third at 1:18.8. Antonio Garcia also a 1:18.8 for Corvette. Richard Westbrook in the second of the Ford GTs, it's kind of 67 at 1:18.9. Bill Oberlin and John Edwards in the BMWs also at 1:18.9. The only a couple of GT LM cars, neither Earl Bamber has turned a representative lap yet, nor has Tommy Milner, the championship leader, along with Oliver Gavin in the Corvette number 4. He's on his first flyer now. Won't be particularly quick, but it'll move into, as he comes across the line, in 9th place at 1:20.9.
Let's head down to Shea Adam.
The reason that Earl Bamber hasn't turned a time is he came back in the pit lane for a tire pressure adjustment. They did the left side and then decided to look at the rights as well, and Earl is just now leaving his pit box.
Tony Vilander improves again, fastest in sector 3 with the number 62 Ferrari, 1:18.352, so that's just 0.025 slower than Joey Hand. Daniel Serra also improves, 1:18.399, so he's a total of 0.072 away from the pole. So the top 3 cars then basically doing identical times.
Yeah, go out and find 0.072 a second, Jeremy, will you? Yeah. I've dropped it somewhere. And now all of a sudden Richard Westbrook bounces to the top and blows it all open by going fully a 10th quicker than everybody else. Antonio Garcia, though, cuts that back to 0.117 of a second. 67 Ford from 3 Corvette, from 66 Ford, from 68, from 62 Ferrari, from 68 Ferrari, and then the 100 BMW. And he's all of 3.5 tenths.
Quite. Yeah, that's right. From Antonio Garcia to Daniel Serra, that's from 2nd to 5th. They're covered by 0.077 of a second, so nothing at all. Still 6 minutes remaining as well.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to park these cars.
No, Richard Westbrook's gone faster again in sector 1. Here he is coming down the hill now towards the chicane.
Not bad. 28.6 in the middle. that weird popping noise that you get, the Ford bucking and waving down the hill there, finding a bump that I didn't know existed. Halfway down the hill, did he improve? He did not.
Not quite, 18.222, so very, very close to his previous best.
Yeah, the anti-lag system on the turbos of the Ford EcoBoost engine sounding completely different to the rest of the turbocharged cars in the field.
Is that Antonio Garcia who's just jumped to second?
He was in second, yeah. But he's improved his time, Jeremy.
Yeah, he has.
He's closed down. He was 0.112 behind. Now he's 0.078 behind, with Joey Hand fully a tenth away in third position.
John Edwards has jumped in there as well, also to join that group on 18.3.
That's ridiculous. Am I seeing 6 cars in 2 tenths there?
Yes.
I'm reading that right.
You are. We've got 2 Fords, a Chevy, a Ferrari, 2 Ferraris, I should say, and a BMW.
Within 2 tenths?
Yeah.
And 2.5 miles?
Yeah.
That's all right, isn't it? GT Racing, alive and well, thank you very much. And why do you think manufacturers want to get involved in this? Well, this is why, because you are in close competition with your fiercest rivals at some of the biggest races and most prestigious races in the world. BMW committed to a full Le Mans legal GTE car, GT LM car, based on a new platform yet to be announced.
Just look at the fastest speed trap time set through the first 4 practice sessions, and all of the GTLM cars within, well, maybe a mile an hour and a half of their ultimate fastest speed, that being around about 160. Yeah, around about 160 miles an hour, fractionally less than 160.
Hello to Gordon de Geet. Says buying a smart TV to get this quality of motorsport is the best purchase I've ever made. What a year. Tuned in on the internet player. Not sure where you are in the world, Gordon, but thank you for that, and keep enjoying the quality of the racing and of these pictures through turn 3. This is the 66. Just basically jump the hole behind the curb there. I suppose if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it. You don't want to drop your wheels into the hole behind the curb at turn 3. Joey Hand, he's leaving nothing on the race circuit here. Almost literally there, Jeremy. Airborne on 2 wheels of the car.
Yeah, I think it might have cost him a little bit of time there, quite frankly. We'll see as he comes across the line. But there was an improvement for Westy. Down to an 18.131 on his previous lap, and Tony Vilander also to an 18.292 for the number 62 Ferrari. Let's see, whereas Joey Hanton 18.4 on that lap, so only a tenth of a second away from his previous best. Tommy Milner into the 18.6s, 7th fastest.
That's clearly my problem, is I wasn't taking enough curb through turn 2. That is literally popping the right side Michelin's over the hole behind the curb that everybody else drops into and digs out. That is remarkable.
Tommy Milner improves again. It went 18.468, but still only 7th quickest in the number 4 Corvette. That is, of course, the championship leading car. And the 2 Porsches both improved last time around, both doing virtually identical laps, 118.8. So the entire field covered by 3/4 of a second now in GTLM.
Yes, in the time that it's taken me to retreat Prescott Motorsport, seeing 8 cars currently within a second of each other. Whole field currently within 3/4 of a second. A minute and a half to go. And the 67 with Richard Westbrook leading the times, calls it an afternoon.
Yes, and as one Englishman does that, another Englishman, that slouch Nick Tandy, improves his time to an 18.806. That is remarkably close.
Ford just looks so purposeful going down the pit lane. We had an incident last night where the lights went out on one of the Fords at the front of the car. Still had the tail lights, thank goodness. But with all of the endurance spotters lights, which are LED driven, the car was ghosting around in the darker areas of the track with just its blue marker lights on. Looked like something that had come out of the outer limits or something like that, area 51. Through goes the 62 Ferrari to start another lap. This will be Tony Wielander's last chance to improve from third position, an 18.294 he has.
And I'm quite surprised how many laps these guys have done in actual fact. Most of them set in their best lap, or some of them lap 6, 7 or even 8.
Would suggest to me that they are on a tyre from Michelin that is ready for a hot day tomorrow. Slightly harder or higher temperature compound, and therefore it's taken them a little bit more time to A, get the best out of them, and B, they don't feel that they are losing any performance tomorrow. Remember, you have to start the race on the tyres that you qualified, or at least 3 of the 4. You're allowed to change one for quote-unquote safety reasons. So if there was a cut or a tear, checkered flag is out.
Tommy Milner's on a good lap. Yeah, personal best in sectors 1 and 2 in that Corvette. This is his 9th lap.
Wielander's out of it. He will not improve. Oh, Tommy Milner is on a good lap.
Yeah, he won't be good enough for the pole, I don't think.
As through he goes now. And in fact, he doesn't improve.
No, he lost a couple of tenths in the final sector.
But when you're only 3 tenths off pole position, it doesn't take much, does it, to bounce you up the field. So all of the GT LM field in less than 3/4 of a second. And if you want to write this down, because this might be the closest GT field we've ever had at Petit Le Mans, 0.735 of a second from Richard Westbrook in pole position to Nick Tandy in 10th. And Nick Tandy won the race overall last year. Our pole sitter is with Shea Adam.
Richard Westbrook, another pole this year. I guess Ryan Briscoe getting one for the 67. You wanted to show him that you're still the best qualifying driver for this car, huh?
Well, I don't know about that, but it's it's just a shame it's a 10-hour race, because qualifying doesn't really mean a lot. But yeah, no, I really enjoy qualifying, and we've worked hard on the setup this weekend, and you know, we're going to give it everything we've got. It's a long shot, but we're not going to give up till the last lap. So yeah, it's a sort of show of intention, how we're going to attack the race, and you know, we're just going to try and keep it at the front. That's all we can do.
It's your 3rd pole of the year, and the one that you got at Watkins Glen, that was a pretty long race, and that ended well for you guys. So I'm not buying into this whole it's a long race stuff that you're saying. Closest ever field, pretty much, that we've seen in Petit Le Mans. We've yet to verify that, but it's just ridiculous. You were out there a long time, though. Were you pushing every lap? Did you think you could get more out of the car?
Well, I mean, it was slower than practice 4, so, you know, the car felt good, but the time was slower than practice 4. So, you know, they give me a heads up and said, you know, you're P1. So I thought, well, you know, it's obviously the same for everyone. But, you know, Petit Le Mans is, you can have a good car in the day, but all it matters is what you've got at night. And we feel like we've got a good car in the night, and that's when it's going to count.
And you're going for the championship, still 2nd in points coming into this weekend, getting pole. Statement of intent?
Well, that's what I just said. It's a long shot, but yeah, it's you know, it's our intention to keep it at the front, and that's all we can do, is try and put pressure on the 4 car. But honestly, whoever wins the championship, they've thoroughly deserved it. It's been a great fight with the 4 car all year, but we're going to try and take it to the end.
Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
Classy stuff from Richard Westbrook, but absolutely right. Absolutely right. Doug Feehan telling me yesterday that if they win the championships, particularly if they clean up this year, he thinks this will be the hardest since they were battling against Aston Martin in those glory years of the GT field. And that is a big statement. Richard Westbrook's 3rd pole position of the year. And interesting, of course, he said what we've been seeing all week, got to have the car for the end of the race. Yes. When is the end of the race? It's in the dark. And who had the car in the dark last night?
I think yes, number 66 car.
Yes.
By well, less than a tenth of a second, but both the Fords were in the top 3 last night, splitting the Ferrari of car number 68. And we know the 62 car is going to be fast as well. So, yeah, it's going to be another great Ferrari versus Ford battle. Oh, and by the way, the Corvettes are in there, and so are the BMWs, and so are hopefully the Porsches. Didn't qualify particularly well today, but like you were just saying, still within 3/4 of a second. That's on just 1 lap as well.
Heat of the day will help the Porsches. When it's greasy, they tend to be pretty good. So I don't expect to see them in 8th and 10th by the time we're looking at sort of 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. After that, though, we'll have to see what happens, because the temperature will drop. And the danger is, of course, that you start chasing the setup for later on in the race when you do need it. But that compromises what you can do earlier on, and then you can't make that time back. To get the opportunity in this form of racing to make back laps if you lose the lead lap in GTLM. And it can happen, particularly if there's yellow flags that split the field up. You know, wave bys and pass arounds and all that sort of thing mitigate the amount of disruption to the other classes that multi-class racing will have when you have safety cars, but it still can happen. I'm literally gobsmacked at 0.735 of a second from 10th to 1st. Quite remarkable. So that's GTLM qualifying. We've set 2 poles. Jerome Bleekemolen, Richard Westbrook. That's halfway through for the WeatherTech qualifying the Prototype Challenge category for the final time here at, oh no, next year they're back, of course. They do have one more year, excuse me. I'm getting rid of that category a year too early. But the Prototype Challenge category being wound down. And who will qualify? Sheridan is down there. My question is Johnny Morlam going to qualify the 20?
Well, he's at the other end of pit lane. I walked all the way up so I could tell you who they are. In the 8, it's definitely Alex Popoff. I'm telling you as I'm going down. 88, Mark Vame, and in the 7 is Stefano Coletti. The big question that I had was if Tom Kimber-Smith was going to qualify in the number 52, since that car won class last year with Tom as one of the drivers, the only returning driver. And get well soon, Andrew Palmer, his last win coming at Petit Le Mans last year. It's Robert Alon, the man who already has 3 poles to his name this year, who will be behind the wheel of that car in the number 85. I can tell you that's definitely Steven Simpson. His very, very noticeable helmet with the South African flag on it. I can barely see the 20. It does not look like Johnny Morlam's helmet from this far away, but as soon as I get closer, I'll let you know. But the really exciting news, our little boy's all grown up. Kenton Cook is qualifying in the number 38.
Kenton Cook, Shays, co-commentator for the Battery Tender Mazda Global MX-5 Cup this year, is qualifying. Rolex watch winner at the Rolex 24 Daytona, of course, in his class. Been doing a bit of digging, and I'm indebted to Marshall Pruitt of Racer.com. The reason there's no more Vipers next year, and there can't be any more Vipers next year, is there's no one to pay the manufacturer sanctioning fee, and therefore the car is not eligible if nobody pays the manufacturer fee.
Oh yes, it is, because the Aston Martin's been running this year.
This year, not allowed from next year. There'll be no more manufacturer non-point scoring cars.
That's a shame.
Let's go back to Shea for an update.
It's actually Chris Miller in the number 85. His helmet is nearly identical to Steven Simpson from the top, but from the bottom down, it's bright orange, so we can keep an eye on that. But, John, the answer you wanted, Johnny Morlam is in the 20 for qualifying.
Class move by Brian Alder and the rest of the Bar 1 team. Johnny Morlam has thoroughly enjoyed his time with Brian, and when we spoke to him yesterday, spoke of the great affection that he has for Brian and the Bar 1 team. Johnny's final major international sports car race. He hasn't hung up his helmet. He'll still, I'm sure, be doing some driving, but Red River Sport is his new aim, and taking his focus, looking after gentleman drivers and helping them through the minefield of GT racing. And he's been doing that with a couple of people already, and he's expanding that into a business. Sharp end of 20 years that Johnny's been racing over here, and a little more than that as a professional driver. Drove for Jackie Stewart, of course, as a teammate to Dario Franchitti, and pretty much threw everything he had into his early career, including remortgaging his house and spannering his own car and working for someone else to get workshop time to get out there. Great story that Johnny's been in the business for so long. He will be missed, JMO, as we've come to call him the last few years. This is his last outing, and he gets the honour of qualifying in PC.
Yeah, and he started off the season by scoring the pole position at Daytona, so maybe he can round it off in the same way here at Road Atlanta.
And Aston North America did pay the money, apparently, we hear, for GTD
next year.
For this year.
Well, they haven't been scoring points, have they?
So the prototype challenge category about to go out. Our second quickest cars.
Of course they have. Beg your pardon.
In the IMSA WeatherTech Championship. Top speed, we're capable of around about 175 miles an hour. A bit shy of that here, but not much. Very quick cars, all running the same engine and the same Continental tyres. The green flag is out.
Is that a race amongst the Starworks guys to get out of the pit box?
Yeah, I think it was. All three Starworks cars at various times have been pointing the wrong directions. In one of the cars, all three drivers as well, I think.
In one session, I think.
Yeah. Anything you can do. So 15 minutes was on the clock. We've lost 20 seconds of those already as they head out over that very intimidating run out of the IMSA pit lane. You basically come out of the pit lane, you can't see anything. You are driving up a ramp. At least when you come out of the support paddock pit lane, you get a little run into turn one and you can sort of place yourself on the circuit. You come out of the pit lane there, as I found out yesterday, in the BMW M6 with Bill Orbeland, and thank you very much for BMW and to Bill for giving me some time to take a couple of laps of the track with that BMW legend. See the fruits of that in one of our ZF race reporter pieces this weekend. Keep an eye on the Twitter feed for that. We'll get you the addresses for that later. Still an amazing circuit, this. You do look at it from new eyes when you've done a few laps around it. Just challenging at every turn. Even the straight isn't a straight. And you can't lose your concentration for a second because the cambers are changing all the way down that straight and dragging the car just very gently one way, then the other. And if you're not really concentrating on what you're doing, you find yourself in the wrong part of the track, then you've got to make an adjustment. Is there somebody there? Have you pulled into them? Have you got your tyres dirty? And basically, as we heard from Ashley Freiberg, the first 30 seconds or so of the lap through this part of the circuit at turn one over the skyline. 2, 3, 4 come very, very quickly. And then point the car to the sky again at 5. Heading down into turn number 6. 6. Really deceptive how banked that corner is and how much pace you can take through it. 7, really important. 7, the sort of corner that always makes you think, I could go quicker around there. No, I can still go quicker around. Oh, I've fallen off. Lulls you into a false sense of security. Right, now are these guys working together? Are they blocking each other? I have no idea what's going on. I saw the furrowed brow on Mr. Shaw to my right there.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what was happening as well. I guess it's Stefano Coletti driving the number 7 car. Of course, he's a newcomer. Alex Papau, who is the championship contender, of course, along with Renger van der Zande in that car number 8. And that was curious. But they were dicing and ducking and weaving and bobbing and everything else, really. But at least they're still on the road.
By the way, thanks very much to John de Geese for letting me know about the Aston North America factoid and GTD. So unless someone who owns a Viper decides to stump up the money, then no Vipers next year. That's Dan Knox who's got the other Viper there. So that car effectively, although it's still eligible, will not be allowed to race by IMSA. Big lock up from the 38 as it comes down the hill. It's the car best placed in Prototype Challenge at the moment for Kenton. Just locked up the right front there. Kenton Kirk coming down the start-finish line now. He's got cars ahead of him. Have to time this very nicely, but he could get a decent run here through turn 1. Very committed indeed from the tall young man. Takes the touring car line through turn number 3 and kicks the right front wheel into the air. Catching the cars ahead, but he might get them in a decent place here. If they don't hold him up too much through 6 and 7, he might be able to get a little bit of a tour down the back straight. It's not as if he's gaining on them hand over fist here, Jeremy. And if he doesn't get distracted by them, this could be another quick lap indeed. A 1:16.686 last time around.
Big lock up there for Stefano Coletti going into turn 7. Car number 7.
Now, this is where it's going to be interesting. We've got 3 cars pretty much equidistant. Kenton maybe getting a little bit of an aerodynamic advantage at the back of those 3. Might just be a tiny bit too far back. Stefano Coletti leading those 3. I don't think he's been held up here, Jeremy, on this lap. This looks a good one from Kenton, but Johnny Molam's putting a quick one in as well on the little bit further back down the circuit. Kenton Cook comes through and doesn't improve his time. A 16.8 to a 16.6. Stefano Coletti goes through into second with a 17.4 before Johnny Molam pitched his time in a 16.9. 3/10 between first and second. A real changing of the guard there, isn't there? Kenton Cook starting his career. Johnny Molam in his last major international race, first and second. Can't tell me that the light isn't still burning just as brightly for Johnny Molam as far as his desire is concerned. And he's got a young charger like Kenton Cook, less than a couple, or just on a couple of tenths quicker than him. And Molam goes quickest of anybody in the first sector in the bar 1 number 20 car. And he's got a bit of space ahead of him here. But he's just pipped by Robert Alon, another one of the new young chargers coming through the Prototype Challenge category in the 52. My goodness, this is all going to be very close indeed. Still half the session remaining, Jeremy.
Yeah, indeed. And Robert Alon, he's been absolutely a revelation this season. Just his 3rd season of racing in anything. Did a couple of years in the Mazda Prototype Lights presented by Cooper Tires Series. We saw those cars in action earlier on today and yesterday. And this year, he's come into the IMSA WeatherTech Championship along with the PR1 Matheson Motorsports team. And boy, he's been absolutely superb, really, particularly in qualifying. He's had 3 pole positions, and he could easily have had a couple of more if Colin Brown didn't go pot hunting for Autosport in a couple of races when he took the pole and then decided to start from the back, whereas all the other drivers qualified their AM drivers. You know, he's been absolutely superb, and he's hardly put any wheels wrong in a race either. Very, very impressive. Johnny Molam does go to the top with a 16.640.
0.046 ahead of Kenton Cook in second. Robert Alon is half a second further back, or half a second back, should I say.
Yeah, lost some time in the 3rd sector there, did Robert.
But he's so quick in the first sector. He loves the twisty bits. He was fast at quarter in the first sector, which is also a serpentine section. 85 with Chris Miller behind the wheel, just done his best time on 1:17.7. So he's improving as well.
That's a good effort.
It is.
He hasn't driven much this season. I'm not sure he's been in the car since Watkins Glen. I don't think he has, unless he's done any testing. I don't believe he has. I don't think they've had really any time to do any testing since then.
Johnny Molam across the line for his 6th lap, 1:16.7. Robert Alon challenging for pole here in the 52 and goes to pole, provisionally at least, with 6.5 minutes to go by 0.086 of a second. We now have the top 3 within a tenth. All right, 0.132 of a second, but you know, a tenth and a third.
Yeah, and then 4th, 5th, and 6th also covered by a tenth of a second as well. A little bit farther back, they're about 7 tenths back from the top 3, but that next 3 is just put from 0.808 to 0.906, just between those, you know, off the ultimate pace. So very, very close. Stefano Coletti, 6th place at the moment, behind Chris Miller and Alex Popow in 4th place. But this is a tremendous. Yeah, it's always this way in PC, isn't it? We see guys going faster and faster and faster. Robert Long quicker again on that first sector, having just gone to the top of the charts overall. A tenth of a second quicker than Johnny Molam through sector 1. Comes down the hill here into the chicane, and he's got another car in front of him here. It wasn't an improvement.
38 was backing off that. Just taking things a little bit easy. Yeah. Kenton just finding a little bit of room. Kenton Cook, and now get started again.
And that's the car that Robert Long was following down the hill. He certainly wasn't impeding him in any way, shape or form. He was 3 or 4 seconds behind him on the road. 2 or 3 seconds behind him at least. But Kenton Cook now has some clear track, and we'll see what he can lay down. This will be a good marker here for Robert Alon. He can set his sights on Kenton ahead of him, and he can match or even improve upon what Kenton is doing. He'll have been doing well. He is a little bit quicker, Robert Alon, through sector 1 than Kenton Cook in front of him. It's not a personal best, but it's still below 29 seconds through that first sector. Not quite as quick as he was before. Number 8 car of Alex Popo down to 5th place now, because Chris Miller has jumped ahead of him. Yeah, all 3 of those improved. Miller, Popo and Piccletti improved on the last lap around, but it was Miller that went to the top. Now it's Popo who goes ahead of them both as well. And car number 8 goes to the 4th fastest time.
Heck of a 3rd sector there from Johnny Moreland, not even his best, 19.6. And with people around him doing their best, he was 3/10ths better than Robert Alon in the 3rd sector. Johnny, very good in slow corners, always has been. Mentored in that by the late, great Bob Wallach, who he drove with, of course. Bob's philosophy was always, you'll make up more time being significantly quicker than your opposition in the slow corners than you ever will by being a tiny bit quicker in the faster ones. Real perfectionist was Bob Wallach.
I miss him.
Yeah.
Brilliant Bob. Wonderful character.
Johnny Moreland, what's his teammate, and learned a lot from him. Speaks very affectionately of the great man. So wastefully taken from us in a road traffic accident when he was on his bicycle at Sebring, of course.
On his way to Sebring, wasn't he?
Yeah. Sebring. He was either on his way to or from the track. He was hit by a driver under the influence. There is a little stone monument there, though.
Johnny Molam improves, but so does Robert Alon, who goes down to now to a 16.411 for Alon. Molam a 16.606. Kenton Cook is a 16.686. That was set a while ago, back on his 3rd flying lap. Still hasn't managed to better that. Alex Popo now up into 4th position at 16.7, and Stefano Coletti, somewhat surprisingly, a 16.8. I say surprising given the amount of experience that he has, but all of those top 5 have covered by less than a half a second.
Yeah, we're back to 3/4 of a second-ish for the field, aren't we? As Chris Whittaker comes into the pits and calls it a day with 2 minutes left to go. He's just on 8/10ths away.
Yeah.
So that's a 6-car field covered by 8/10ths, and as Jeremy says, the top 5 of those by half a second, under half a second.
Yeah, that is good. That's a good effort by Chris Miller. It really is. He's going to be 6th on the grid, but still, that's a very, very stout lap for somebody who gets precious little time at the wheel of the cars.
So, who's got anything left? Well, Robert Alon has, because he's just done his personal best last sector. Yeah, nobody's been as quick as Molam in that last sector, mind you. That's amazing.
Another 16.4 for Robert Alon there, so he's done 2 laps quicker than anybody else.
What a great... the PCs will be sorely missed by me, much missed, because these qualifying sessions in particular, I've always loved them. Fuel the car up for the full 15 minutes, and as you burn off the fuel, the cars get lighter. Yes, the tyres are used, but Continental take a bow, because it is proof that you don't have to introduce it's a knockout, snakes and ladders, rock, paper, scissors or whatever into qualifying. Just do it the old-fashioned way with a tyre that will, yes, degrade a wee bit from the opening laps, but is consistent enough as the fuel burns off to allow the cars to go quicker.
Yeah.
It clearly isn't rocket science, and well done, Continental.
Well, look, Alex Popo's just completed 10 laps. He's just improved his last lap around. That was his fastest time, 1:16.696. So he's improved again now to 1:16.470. Alex Popo is really on a charge here, up into second place, just 0.059 behind Robert Alon. Wow. That really is a good effort. Johnny Molan then down to third place, despite the fact he just improved as well to a 16.495. Top 3 cars within 1/10 of a second. Checkered flag is out. This lap will count coming down the hill here. That was Mark Kavami, who did improve, but he's still behind the piece GTLM cars. Whoops. And that's why. Laying some rubber.
Yeah, Mark is well off the pace at the moment, some 3 seconds away. And that, of course, makes him pretty much 2 seconds, a little more than 2 seconds away from the next driver. Checkered flag is out.
Yeah, Robert Alon is fractionally better on this lap through the first sector.
It's all very close though, isn't it? Pop out not going to improve. He's out of it. Moreland, I'm not sure, not close enough, unless Johnny can pull out another brilliant third sector, which there's every possibility of doing. He's lost a 10th to Alon in the first sector, but he's gained it back in the second. He's still the only person I've seen under 20 seconds in that third sector, another 16.5. And there's Kenton Cook with a 19.7. The only person I've seen down in the mid-19s. Johnny did a 19.3, I think, in that last sector. The best one that he put in, a 16.8 there for Kenton Cook, pulls him closer. It's going to be Robert Alon and Alex Popow on the front row, with Johnny Moreland and Kenton Cook on row 2, and then Stefano Coletti on the inside of row 3, with Mark Kavami having already gone through the checkered flag. Well, Johnny Moreland will not have worked as hard for a third position for a long time. And the top 3 separated by, wait for this, 0.084 of a second. And despite the fact he didn't get pole, I bet Moreland's enjoyed that, because that was a proper battle with some hard young chargers.
Yeah, absolutely right. It was a tremendous qualifying session, and to be that close, whoa, frustrating in a way. But you're right, he'll have had a good time. But look at Robert Alon there, giving a little bit of wave to people coming on the back straight there. 4 pole positions this year for Robert Alon, his debut season in this championship, just his 3rd season racing in anything, no go-karting or anything to get him started. But wow, that was another really good effort. A fine, hard-earned pole position, 4th of the year for Robert Alon.
Oh, brilliant stuff again by Robert Alon and Alex Popow and Johnny Moreland and Kenton Cook, who was only 2/10 away in that qualifying session. And let's not forget, he hasn't been driving that car all year. He's been thrown back into it for this, the 4th of the long-distance Tequila Patron North American Endurance Championship races.
Which he leads,
yes,
in PC.
Good point, and leads on his own.
Yeah.
That would be a decent year for the young man, wouldn't it, considering he hadn't done a full season, to bag himself his first Rolex, and I strongly believe it will be his first of many Rolex, and win the championship, the only championship that he was doing that he could win. He will have won. Has a bit of a habit of winning championship, does Kenton Cook, doesn't he? He's come up through the Mazda Road to 24 and the scholarship programme, and has won every championship he's been in.
Yeah, he has. He won the Skip Barber MX-5 Cup, he won the Battery Tender MX-5 Cup, and he won the Mazda Prototype Lights presented by Cooper Tires as well. So, yeah, it's been a pretty impressive run for Kenton Cook.
Shea Adam is down with Robert Alon, who is just getting himself sorted after that. Looks like he's had to work pretty hard, Shea.
Yeah, he's definitely showing signs of hard work out there in this car. And anytime you beat Johnny Mollem in anything, you better have worked hard for it. Robert's 4th pole of the season, and this one coming on his father's birthday, so a little bit extra special. He's always your biggest fan at the track, but he probably asked you earlier this morning to go get pole, didn't he?
Yeah.
What's it like to know that you guys coming into this race, 2nd in the championship in your rookie year, going for that? Now you get to start on pole. Makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just knowing that this is the last race and everyone's going to be pushing for the win, it's pretty nice to be out front and not be in the middle of the, you know, the wreck. So.
You've already gotten a couple wins on the year, but now you have 4 of these pole-winning flags. Do you just have them all put up in your room? Have you given them away to friends and teammates?
At this point, yeah, they're just in my room, but I'll probably give them away.
Well, hopefully tomorrow you can add a couple trophies to your collection. Good luck.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, another pole for Robert Alon, and he joins Richard Westbrook and Jerome Blakemolen as our pole sitters for the race tomorrow, the 19th Petit Le Mans, presented by Harrah's Cherokee Casino. Goes back to have a chat with his team. And Shea's amazing factoid of the day is, so far,
every pole winner is 2nd in the championship, in their respective championships. So are we going to put money on the Action Express boys?
Ah, there you go. Don't spoil it for me, boys. I'm hoping that Johnny Mollem hasn't run away from the bar 1 pit and that Shea can grab a quick word with him about that qualifying session. It was absolutely nip and tuck. 0.084 of a second between the top 3. Mollem less than a 1/10 of a second away and finds himself on the inside of row 2. But I have a feeling, as I say, that J-Mo will have enjoyed that. Not sure if Shea can still see him. Shea, is he still around the pit box?
I've come up to the other end of pit lane. I was doing the qualifiers again. I just wanted to let you know that Dane Cameron is going to be in the 31 and Christian Fittipaldi in the 5, but I'll head down that way now.
Johnny, if you can hear me, don't go too far away from the bar 1 pit. Shea's on her way to have a chat with you. Too much wind for the pole-winning flag.
He's a full-time pole winner, isn't he?
I think he is a full-time pole winner this year.
Wrong flag, but good enough.
+1 needs to be on the...
Yes. Yeah, they gave him that same flag last time out at Circuit of the Americas, I think.
Maybe haven't got a 4-time one then. Weren't expecting anyone. Actually, no, Riberas had one at Côte d'Azur, as Shave's just reminded me, so there is one somewhere. You're listening to IMSA Radio. We're trackside at Road Atlanta. Been a long day, a long but exciting day, and we still have some excitement because we'll be finding out who will lead the field to the green flag for the 19th time at Petit Le Mans. That will come up in a few moments' time as the celebrations at Robert Alon's pit continue. Ricky Taylor in the 10. In fact, I tell you, let me just hand over to Shea. She's walking down the pit lane towards bar 1. She'll tell us who's qualifying.
I was just going to let you know that Ricky Taylor, who already has a couple of poles to his name this year, will be taking qualifying duties for the number 10 yet again. And it will be a little bit of razzle and a little bit of dazzle in the 90. The Visit Florida has Ryan Dial behind the wheel. And I'm getting pretty close to bar 1. So, Johnny, if you're listening, I'm on my way.
Thank you, Shea. Shea Adam with that Continental Tire pit lane report. Oh, P-class qualifying. Very interesting. You would say, looking at the timesheets from the start of the week, that it should be an LMP2 car, but it depends.
It'll be either Olivier Pla or Olivier Pla, if Olivier Pla is qualified.
And he is in the 60, so
Olivier Pla.
Don't call, don't phone. We've got ourselves a winner. Jeremy Shaw, absolutely.
Yeah, he's been, I mean,
otherworldly.
The Mazda guys might be able to get close to him, but I think Olivier is on a different planet this weekend. He's He looks so relaxed. I saw him a couple of times in the paddock last couple of days, just briefly, and he's super relaxed. He's loving working with his team. The team absolutely loves having him being part of it as well.
Before we go to our fastest prototypes in terms of their lap times with the P-Class, let's go down to Johnny Molam after his final qualifying session here at Petit Le Mans.
So Johnny, you were faster than anyone through Sector 3. You have that figured out. Is it age and experience?
I'm clearly not willing to take enough risk because I lost out by a 10th, and I'm gutted for the team because they gave me an opportunity to qualify. It's probably not the best tactics, and we'll probably change that around for the start of the race, but I should have got pole when I'm out there. I mean, you know, especially when Renger's not out there. I should have been able to get pole position reasonably comfortably. There's no excuse, but my predicted lap time wasn't working, and that's the sort of thing you need sometimes to just work out where to find half a tenth here, half a tenth there, and we only missed out by 800. So I think if that had been working, I might have been able to squeeze it, but who knows. But congratulations to Robert Allen. He can throw down some great laps as well, to be fair. I've seen him do it this year a few times. I mean, he nearly out-qualified Colin Braun at Lime Rock, I saw. So, I mean, he's a great driver, so he deserves the pole. He drove quicker than me, but I am a little bit disappointed. I wanted to get pole position for my last one.
Okay, then, here's what you do. You come back for Daytona, you do one more race, and you get a third consecutive pole there. How about that?
That sounds like a good idea.
I think that put a smile on his face, John.
Thank you, Shea. Well, honesty from Molam there. Oh, should have had pole, should have had pole.
Yeah.
Well, good for him. 0.84 of a second, just under a tenth away, but still a smile on Johnny Molam's face. And this is final outing at Petit Le Mans, presented by Harris Cherokee Casino.
That was, by the way, though, his best lap of the weekend.
Yeah.
16.5 he did this morning in the final practice session. That was the quickest session of the day, and this time he did a 16.4. So, you know, he certainly did a good job with it.
Well, now our focus swings across to the P cars, and we'll wait to see where the 60 car is. IMSA is already on the back straight. Olivier Pla gently weaving left and right in front of the number 90. We said Ryan DL was in the 90, didn't we?
Indeed.
So Olivier Pla past the packed RV parking areas on either side of the back straight. There must have been 60 or 70 RVs parked up, ready to come in on Monday night when I was here. Clearly a big commitment by the fans here at Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta, which continues to be one of the real draws. And when you consider this is only the 19th, it's not a huge amount of time in motorsport terms. And really, since the very first year, when more than 20,000 people turned up, which was the biggest crowd that this track had seen for a very long time. Pedos telling us on Wednesday night that when they had the Road Atlanta Grand Prix here earlier on in that same year of 1998, there's about 3,500 people turn up, and it was about 23,500 people turned up for Petit Le Mans that year, the first race, which led to the American Le Mans season, which got us where we are now, in point of fact. Extraordinary way that this circuit and this event has captured the fans' imagination. So waiting for these fast times to come in already. Had 3 minutes before we see the times coming in. There'll be another about minute or so before the first flying laps are completed. Last outing for the Mazdas with that Lola chassis, being continuously developed by Multimatic. Again, at the end of an era there. Mazda, one of a number of manufacturers that are expected to be announcing a DPI program for next year. That's an LMP2 chassis with bespoke bodywork and engine. Nissan and ESM partnering up to be the first to announce their program. Just strongly suspected that Corvette's prototype will be replaced with another GM brand, likely Cadillac. Again, waiting for full confirmation of how many cars that will be. Will it 3 or 4? Yeah, it's a lot of chassis for those guys. That chassis is tested, I believe. That car's actually tested.
I think it's going to be a lot of news coming out of the next 4 weeks or so, isn't there?
We mentioned earlier in the weekend, but it's a sign of the times that not all of, not in fact any of those announcements haven't happened here, which might have happened in the years gone by, but also a sign of the times of how important the manufacturer involvement is, Jeremy, that those type of announcements are likely to come at places like the Detroit or LA auto shows, and certainly you'll have no annoyance or no argument from me about that. That's putting our sport in front of a wider and more broad automotive audience.
Yeah, hats off to the manufacturers for doing that. I think it's great. It does more exposure is good in pretty much every single way. Certainly the major auto shows there. Everybody, all the media outlets pay attention to the major auto shows. Hopefully they can spare a few moments to talk about the motorsports programs.
I think the LA Auto Show might be worth tuning into, logging on to, staying around for. Certainly 2 manufacturer programs to be announced at that event. Right, Ollie Pla, let's get down to Mr. Pla. How is Olivier doing? Very well, thank you. 1:13.3, his first offering. 1:13.381. He's going to better that this time around. Tristan Nunez with a 13.9.
Purple sector 1, not quickest in sector 2 because that's Catherine Legg in the Delta Wig. Across sector 3, however, let's see.
Oh, not quickest there either.
Does improve his lap to a 1:13.061. Fastest, that is quicker than anybody else has gone this weekend, by the way. 13.0.
And is that a new qualifying record as well, then?
Yes, by quite a long way in actual fact. The previous record was a 14.5, set by Christian Fittipaldi a couple of years ago. Qualifying last year, of course, was rain affected. So the quickest lap of the weekend set this morning by Olivier at a 12.618. So I think the 13.061 is pretty stout effort. Now it's the second and third then at the moment. Tristan Nunez with a 13.955, just a tenth of a second quicker than Tom Long.
And then Catherine Legg.
Oh, wow.
4th position with a 14.5, just being bounced down by Dane Cameron with a 14.1. The Delta Wing given a steer of execution in terms of its IMSA participation will be at the 2017 Rolex 24 at Daytona. Special dispensation afforded to the Elan-powered Delta Wing. Don Pino's breaking that news in a chat on Thursday night. And Catherine Legg looking for gainful employment for the whole season. Might I just say, for those that might be looking, a very accomplished silver driver. Actually thought she would have been part of a manufacturer GT program by now, but not to be apparently at the moment, or at least not confirmed.
Not confirmed, but I think Ryan, who was looking at there? Tristan Nunez improved on it last lap. 13.688 for Tristan Nunez in car number 55. That is the second fastest lap of the weekend so far. Yes, oh no, not quite. You did a 13.5. Forgive me. This morning, now done 13.6. That by Catherine Legg, by the way. That's 3/4 of a second quicker than she managed this morning in ideal conditions.
Yeah.
Mind you, conditions are pretty good now too, aren't they? It's cooling down a little bit as well from the warmth of the afternoon.
Catherine decided that on the weekend off she would do something nice and relaxing, so went and did an Ironman event. And I spoke to her on Wednesday night and said, and never doing it again, she said. Good for her for giving it a go. Very, very competent driver, had an excellent single-seater career. Won races, of course, in Indy Lights. Atlantic, sorry. Formula Atlantic, thank you, Jeremy. And
performed very credibly in the old kart days, the old champ car days as well.
Yep. Has transitioned into endurance racing very well and just improved actually her time 6th position now for her with a 14.446.
That's impressive.
She's a good driver.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy, she's a very, very good driver.
Oh, yeah.
And loving the endurance form of things. Been, you know, it's not been easy for anybody who's driven that Delta Wing, and that's no detriment to the programme, but it's been ongoing development all of the time. And basically it's been a voyage of discovery for the team and the drivers pretty much every time they've gone out. And that takes a very special kind of concentration and feedback from all of the drivers that's been involved in that. And I think Catherine's learned an awful lot from it, as have the other drivers who've been involved. Sean Rahal's done a great job with them as well.
Yeah, I mean, her talent was apparent immediately when she came over to the United States from England to race in Formula Atlantic. That was 11 years ago now, hard to believe, in 2005. Yeah, incredible, isn't it? She won 3 races that season, and you know, it was painfully obvious that she was really, really good. That was really the first opportunity she'd had to shine in any sort of a racing car, and she took the bull by the horns. Like I say, 3 wins. It was really, really impressive. And that's a great lap by her. She's slipping down the order. A couple of people improving. Ryan Diel's just improved. Jans van Overbeek. Surprised that car's not a little bit quicker. 6th place for the Tequila Patron ESM car. Make that 7th, because who has jumped up there? Christian Fittipaldi, I guess. Just went across to a 14.2 to move into 5th position. So, yeah, so it's Olivier Pla, just got purple again, by the way. He turned another quick lap and did a 13.1 and then backed off on the last lap. And now he's on a quick lap again now, personal best, well, actually fastest of all in Sector 1. He's in the middle part of the track right now. Tristan Nunez still then 2nd place. Dane Cameron has split the 2 Mazdas with a 113.903 in car number 31. That is the first time this weekend that any of the DP cars has got below 14 seconds, 1 minute 14. So he's within 0.8 of a second or so of the pole, and Olivier Pla didn't improve on that lap. It was another 13.6. Even though he was fastest of all in Sector 1, no, didn't match his earlier bests in either Sectors 2 or 3. But he's 13.6. That's still quicker than most people. Another good lap there from Tristan Nunez, by the way. Another 13.6 for him also. Although he's now backed off. Ah, that's why he's backed off.
Gone off at the top of the hill.
No, that was actually Tom Long.
Okay. Shea, Adam?
Tristan Nunez is going to be bringing the 55 in soon, because the guys are up on the pit wall with the lollipop, letting them know to come in. The 31 has also come into the pit lane, as well as the 90 and the 0.
Dane Cameron there, he'll be thrilled with that. He's a couple of 3/10 ahead of his championship rival, Christian Fittipaldi. He's got two P2 cars ahead of him. He's got another P2 car behind him. So he's done really well to split those cars. And if he could start 3rd on the grid, he is, of course, that is a championship leading car number 31, leads by just 1 point over number 5 going into tomorrow's race. And as last year, we saw a tremendous battle all the way through the race between those 2 Action Express cars last year, and really it was just the timing of the early conclusion of that race that decided it, because about 10 minutes earlier, number 31 car was in position to win the championship.
Olivier Pla calls it an afternoon with 2.5 minutes to go. So Ryan Diel then is 6th quickest. He's on pit lane as well. 1 minute 14.2. He was actually quickest of the DP cars this morning in that number 90 car for Visit Florida Racing. Did a 114.0, so not quite able to match that this afternoon. We've got a few people improving and quite a few not improving. Oh, Johannes van Overbeek at the top of turn 3 again, going the sky route over the curb at 3. Looks tidy through the S's. A little tentative, a little early turn into 5. But these cars are very quick indeed. Downforce cars, of course, using the pressure of the air to push them into the ground. Take a huge amount of speed through the corners. And the faster you go, the faster you can go. That's the thing you've got to get your head around with cars with a large amount of downforce, if you don't go fast enough, they won't go around the corner.
Yeah.
And your head says, well, I must be going too fast because it's going straight on, when actually you need to go quicker. Yeah, you see, I'm not wired like that, Jeremy. It's not going round the corner. Go quicker. No. You don't seem to understand. It's not going round the corner. Go quicker. OK, I'm coming in. Across the line for Johannes van Overbeek. He does not improve, but he's got one more lap into turn 1. Straightens the car up. There's the big bump at the apex of turn 1.
That's tight line through there.
Yeah, lovely.
It's pretty tidy to 2 and 3 as well.
Oh, great shot through the S's. Yeah, that's a bit better, I think, through 5. Doesn't use all the curb on the way out, doesn't need to.
No, it doesn't. When you get on the curbs, particularly with these downforce cars, with the where the underbody is generating a goodly amount of pressure to suck the car down to the road. If you get it on the curbs, you lose all that downforce. So you want to keep it as tidy as you possibly can. It's exactly what he doesn't do at turn 7. Turn 7 is the slowest corner on the track, so that's the least effect of that there. Important there for the P2 cars to just get off turn 7 as quickly as you can, carry as much momentum out of the corner. It doesn't have the torque to jump out of these slower corners like the DP cars do, the big V8s.
Yeah, they
should. Fittipaldi improved fraction on that last lap. 1:14.160, 5th place, however, still.
Checkered flag is out, and Johannes van Overbeek sees it first, doesn't improve. Fittipaldi has got the lap he is on. Okay, 1:14.1 for him last time around.
Very close to improving, though, did Johannes van Overbeek. Yeah. Within 1/10 of a second of his previous best. But you have to make do with 7th place. That's the car number 2. That is the car that won both at Daytona and Sebring earlier this season. So he was therefore leading the Tequila Patron North American Endurance Championship after the first couple of races, but didn't have such a good result at Watkins Glen. So has slipped back to 2nd, just 2 points behind a number 5 entry. That's Joao Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi, who came away with a win at Watkins Glen and now lead that NAEC by 2 points. That'll do it. Christian Fittipaldi has lifted off.
Yeah, he has.
He hasn't actually taken the checkered flag, but he has eased off the throttle, so he'll be bringing that car into pit lane. 5th fastest it will be then for the 2-time and defending series champions.
Congratulations all round for the Ligier Works driver Ollie Pla in the number 60 Ligier Honda. And Shea Adam will have a word with the pole sitter for the 19th Petit Le Mans, presented by Harris Cherokee Casino in a moment's time. Some familiar faces there, Jeremy.
Yeah, John Pugh and Ozzie Negri lending their round of applause to a job well done by the Frenchman. Look how relaxed he looks. He got out of that car. He's
it's not like he's been working at all. Hang on, get the hat right. Now, go and speak to IMSA Radio. Ollie Pla then is the pole sitter for the 19th Petit Le Mans, presented by Harris Cherokee Casino.
Well, Olivia, that's certainly a way for Michael Shank Racing to celebrate 250 starts in prototypes, and for John Pugh as well. Had to be in the back of your mind during that lap that there was a little extra pressure.
Yeah, no, of course, you know, coming here, back in 2008 was my first race in the US, so always a very good memory. And now we know that we had a car who will be competitive here on a clean air. Car been fantastic from the beginning of the weekend, and we just kept improving every session, so thanks to the team for that. But I would say that the hardest thing is still to come. It's tomorrow, so we will push hard until the end. You know, to be honest, I don't care finishing P2 or P3, I just want to win that one.
Yeah, points don't count for you guys, not worrying about a championship coming into this race, knowing that it's all for the win. It would mean a lot for these guys to get that desperate win. But is there any chance that we will see you back with Michael Shank Racing in the future?
Good question. I hope that I can go back with this guy in the future, because since the beginning I really enjoy working with them. So for sure, if there is an opportunity, I will take it.
We've had 5 sessions this weekend, and you've been the quickest man through all 5. Is there anything that you haven't shown that's left in the car that you're holding back for the race?
I think we give everything every time, and we will do it also tomorrow.
Well, it showed. Congratulations, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
So our 4 pole sitters have been completed for tomorrow's 19th running of Petit Le Mans, presented by Harris Cherokee Casinos. It's Olivier Pla for the 60 Honda of Michael Shank Racing on pole position. For PC, Robert Alon for the 52 team. Richard Westbrook captures GTLM for Ford. And in the GTD category, Jerome Blakemolen for Ben Keating's 33 Viper Exchange team. Thanks to Shea Adam, to Jeremy Shaw and our technical team. I'm John Hindorf. The responsible adult was Eve Hewitt. And we'll be back with the warm-up and the countdown to green, and then the final race of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car 2006 season tomorrow, live here on IMSA Radio.